I am not a big fan of the Georgia heat, and today it got a little bit hot, but this is really my favorite time of year in Georgia. The pollen is past, and the mornings when I get up in the 60s, right now the sun is just going down over there, and honestly, the temperature for right now, nice breeze is perfect for me. I don't know, it's maybe 70 degrees or whatever, but so I've been getting a lot of questions about these containers. Why do I grow in these containers? Well, first of all, it's the model that works best for me. I grow in raised beds and containers rather than tear up my yard with rows, but rows are pretty inefficient when you're going to grow. There's a lot of soil that you don't end up using, then you have more trouble with weeds. But these are non-woven fabrics. Some of them are made out of like a felt material, and they really last quite a long time. These are 10-gallon sizes right here. I go from 15 sometimes. Way over there you see the white ones. Those are actually 20-gallon ones. Just kind of depends on what I'm watching. I go no less than 10 on tomatoes. Sometimes I go 15 for the indeterminate tomatoes and ones that get really big. But these are great for a number of reasons. First of all, the roots don't get root bound in these because they do what's called air pruning. That means when they reach the felt on the side, they just basically stop growing. If this was a container, a hard container, they would go around and around and around, and you'd get this great big root ball, and that's fine for tomatoes if you're just doing it for 1 year. But, it's not going to hurt it. But some of the plants that I grow are, I leave them in the pots like I try to do with peppers, my blackberries and things like that. But the disadvantage of these is that they dry out really, really quickly. So you can see that I have put some pine straw in here. I love pine straw because it doesn't get soaked up. Water passes it through it easy. It does block the sun's rays, but and it lasts longer. I can actually just take this off and use it again next year, so it doesn't break down as much as straw. It doesn't have any seeds in it either, which pine, if you're using, never, if you're growing in containers like this, you can use hay, straw if you want, because you're not going to have really too much problem with grass seed growing. But these are fairly inexpensive. You can buy them for about $4 each. Some of them are really cheap. You want to spend the money to get the thicker ones. But they're easy to move around, relatively easy to move around, and they just work out for me. But again, they do have the drawback in that I have to water them sometimes twice a day. Now I'm going to try to put in a drip irrigation system in here this year just to help out a little bit with the watering. But because I've got a lot of them, and I'm going to have 20 more by probably the end of next weekend. So I got a whole bunch over there as well. But I like them. I don't love them. I would much rather have more raised beds to grow stuff in, but I just can't, I can't keep building raised beds. They take a long time to build. Now, my raised beds, people have asked me what I make these out of. I make these out of fence pickets. And the reason I make them out of fence pickets is because fence pickets are cheap. I use 2x4s in the corner, and yes, I do use pressure treated, and I have done a lot of research on that, and you need to do your own on it, but pressure treated lumber that you use in your yard and stuff it doesn't have the ingredients in it that it used to have years ago that made it so dangerous that could leach into the soil. Does some stuff leach in there? Possibly, but it's copper, and copper is toxic at high levels, but you're not going to get high levels in here. But they make cedar fence pickets as well, and if you feel more comfortable with that. The corner posts definitely have to be made out of pressure treated, but I don't know how many. I can make this whole box for probably, I don't know, $25 maybe for the whole box. The big expense actually comes in buying the grow mix that goes in there, and I buy some stuff that is a compost mix from Springfield, Georgia, and it's basically cotton, the leftover plants from cotton that they grind up. They also put some stuff in there as well. You want to build your beds first with some topsoil and stuff, but I've spent years building my beds. I've got stuff in here that, just make it so that my soil is just top quality soil. I add a lot of different natural organic amendments and lots of compost, and I'm just really building it up every year. And even in the containers, the stuff that's in the containers, I put amendments that help make the soil stronger. So, yeah, so these containers are great if you just have a small space. If you only have a few of them, then watering it's not a big deal. You just want to check it and make sure. The roots love them. The plants do really well in them. I mean, my tomatoes are cranking, but they probably are, they're going to do better if they're in the ground. But I'm great with these. They don't produce as many tomatoes probably as the ones in the ground, but they produce plenty. So I like them.